For the first time with fans, we say good evening and welcome to Inglewood. Welcome to SoFi Stadium. My name is JB Long, joined by my radio broadcast partners, Maurice Jones-Drew and DeMarco Farr. D-Farr has a few on us, but this is year 6 together, gentlemen. I don't want to speak for you, but I have never been more excited to kick off an NFL season, and this environment is exactly why. Before we get to the football and the matchup with the Bears here on Sunday night, what do you make of SoFi Stadium at the outset of a new season?
I mean, just to see the people outside, everyone ready to go, to come inside, the energy. There's the people out here already on the field and in the suites, and this is what football is all about. When you're a player, and DeMarco, we know this, the fans bring the energy. Either you want to take their energy away or you want to kind of keep it going if you're the home team. So it's exciting to see everyone here.
I had fun walking in. I know Aaron Donald's a one-man army, but he's got an army outside, a bunch of 99s everywhere. That's what I love. That's what I miss, walking up to the stadium, hearing all different conversations. I saw a couple, an Aaron Donald jersey and a Fields jersey right next to each other. That's interesting. I got to see that stuff, but you didn't get to see that last year. It's good to see that now. Great football environment.
Of course, this is exactly where the Rams want the journey to end. In February with Super Bowl 56. We'll get to Matthew Stafford in just a moment, but first, what are you looking forward to most as we kick off tonight? What element about tonight's game excites you most?
To me, it's just going to be defense, right? You have two premier defenses going against offenses that some may have the ability to be explosive. How do you perform in that situation, right? How do you match up against the Bears if you're the Rams? If you're the Bears, how do you match up against the Rams and their explosive offense? And how do you attack Matthew Stafford?
DeMarco, your favorite One Republic song? They're going to be the halftime performance.
Oh, God, you put me on the spot.
Counting Stars?
Counting Stars, yes. That's the only one I know. I can't wait.
All the right moves, something we hope for Sean McVay and the Los Angeles Rams tonight. But let's get to one of the most anticipated debuts across the entire league. Matthew Stafford, after a dozen seasons in Detroit, now with McVay, with the Rams, perhaps the best supporting cast he's ever had, perhaps the best running game, the best defense he's ever been paired with. There's a thought that this game plan is now 8 months in the making, going all the way back to a night in Cabo between McVay and Matthew Stafford. Anticipate it for me. What do you think about tonight's game plan against the Bears?
You know, I'm excited because no one knows what it may be. It can come out and be 4 straight runs. It can come out and be a play-action pass thrown deep. It can come out and be a play-action screen. It can be anything you want because Stafford has the ability to make every throw on the field, and that's what excites you about him. When you watch his tape in Detroit, he plays hurt, he's tough. And JB, you did the thing I told you had it on IG. It gave me goosebumps.
Oh, the trailer.
The trailer, yes. All that you said about him, the toughness, the leadership, all those things happen. You want to see all that in the first drive. There's going to be some adversity. Can you respond from that and play well?
I want to see real football. That's number one. When you get the third down, I want to hear crowd noise. I don't want to see 3-man rushes in a 2-minute drill. That's preseason stuff. So this will be fun to get back to football. But Matthew Stafford, man, I'm expecting everything. I love Sean McVay's offense. We all love his offense. It's really good with a pretty good quarterback. Now, throw in a dose of pretty great quarterback into this offense. I mean, look, I'm expecting fireworks out of this offense. I'm expecting them to hit the end zone 4 or 5 times today. I mean, you have the weapons, you've got the quarterback. I don't want to say you're out of excuses, but you're all out of excuses. The only thing that's going to stop you is execution, so we'll see how that goes, but I'm expecting fireworks out of number 9 today.
Well, let's talk about this, too. We just saw Russell Wilson earlier in this Sean McVay offense light up a Colts defense that was a top 5 last year. So what do you expect
Shane
from Matthew?
Waldron going to Seattle?
What do you expect from Matthew Stafford? I can't wait.
To DeMarco's point, though, about fireworks, is there a danger of being too anxious to put it on display too early? Because this is a consistently great Bears defense. They're under new leadership. Traditionally, these primetime matchups with the Bears have been low scoring. That's an okay way to win tonight. Do you have to fight the urge to try and put 40 on them?
I would say, look, if you're prepared to go, then go. I mean, you know your team. Sean McVay knows his guy. Matthew Stafford knows the offense. If you feel confident, go. Take it down the field, 9-9-9. Let's challenge everybody. If the Bears stand up and make a fight, then okay, go back to playing football. But they have a new defensive coordinator. Here's a question here. If he starts getting behind, remember, this is a misdirection offense. If your guys are a step slow, what does he do when he's trapped? Most of the time, he goes up-tempo trying to get the ball out of your hand quick. So you know Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford are used to that, ready for that. So, look, I'd say if you're ready, hit the end zone.
As a guy who just coached his first Pop Warner game, 13-14 As a head coach, you got to get out of the win. You can't be caught in there. You can't be inside the bubble excited like the players. You got to be the one thinking outside. So I think it's important for Sean McVay to not kind of dive in and, like you said, want to put up 40 points. Let that come to you. Let those plays come. Don't force them. Don't try to dial up plays and set up plays. Just get in a rhythm. We know when this Rams offense in the rhythm, they can score with the best of them. That's what you want to do.
Remember where you are. This is SoFi.
Yeah.
They came to see a show.
They did. The show almost backfired on us, baby. We almost lost.
Real quick, head coach and offensive play caller? Just like Sean McVay?
Just like Sean McVay. What do you?
Absolutely.
Hey, practice on Tuesday, fellas.
Sean Desai, new defensive coordinator in Chicago, comes off that Vic Fangio tree, so you may see some elements, some flavor of what the Rams had here with Brandon Staley previously a year ago. And now he passes over the most dominant defense in the NFL to a new coordinator, Rahim Morris. Has both head coaching and defensive coordinating experience. How similar, how different, DeMarco, do you expect it to be with a lot of the same personnel back, but also some key departures?
That's the first thing I asked Rahim Morris back at training camp. What are you going to do about your scheme, or are you going to change a lot? He said there'll be a lot of carryover. That was music to my ears as a defender. If I don't have to have a bunch of new learning in the offseason, all I'm doing is trying to get better at what I already know, which is what you should do with a defense like this, with Aaron Donald, with Jalen Ramsey. Don't give them new things to learn. Let them improve upon their game. Work on their game. Work on getting better. Defense, when you get right down to it, is reaction, see ball, get ball.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to do is get in between that and a player's instinct. So I think Rahim Morris is right in line with what this defense needs. Now, it's tough. He's taken over the number one defense. There's nowhere to go but
down.
Stay number one.
Right.
So we'll see how this works out against the Bears offense.
Yeah, for me, the beautiful thing about it is there's only one person learning this defense. It's Rahim Morris, right? If you think about it, you're going to use the star player and the star position, all those different things. You're going to move Jalen around. So you're right, DeMarco. It's awesome for the 11 guys that are out there. They know this defense. They've been in it. Rahim Morris has to understand how to call it. I remember sitting there in training camp and the other coaches helping Rahim, like, hey, this is kind of what we did in these situations. This is what worked. This is what didn't work. And it's important to get your playmakers in position to be successful. Find ways to move Aaron Donald around. Be a little bit, as Aaron Donald once said, put his spin on it. Put his flavor on this defense. Let's see what Rahim Morris does.
Well, Leonard Floyd is back on the edge with a big new contract. He stars in prime time, and he was pretty good last year against his former team, the Chicago Bears, as well. DeMarco, is it fair to ask even more of Floyd, given how much is unknown at the other outside linebacker spot?
Absolutely. $64 million, absolutely, yes. You want more. I mean, 10.5 sacks is great. I thought he was fantastic towards the end of the year. When Aaron got dinged up, the other guy that stepped up was Floyd. But you're expecting more. You're paying him on potential. Maurice knows this. When they pay you big money, they're always looking to find ways to take it back. So it's your job to keep them off you, which means you got to improve.
As for the Bears offense and the quarterback who will lead it, MJD, I don't want to give away too many of your secrets, but before we came on the air, we're kind of watching those Bears quarterbacks warm up behind us. One really jumps off the page at you. The other, Andy Dalton, who's going to start tonight, maybe not so much.
Andy, he throws a catchable ball. He doesn't have the arm talent as Justin Fields. We knew that coming in. But right before we went on air, I talked to a good friend of mine, Alan Robbins, who said the thing about Andy Dalton is the calmness in the huddle that they didn't have with Mitchell Trubisky. A guy that can go up to the line of scrimmage, get us into the right play, and allow the playmakers to make plays. Yes, we all want the young fella to go out there because he's lively, he can throw. But he said, temper down a little bit. Andy can still make some plays for us, and we'll be good. And it's going to be exciting to see what Andy can do. Because if Andy doesn't make plays, Justin Fields will be on this field.
DeMarco, we saw the San Francisco 49ers deploy 2 quarterbacks, including their rookie. Do you expect the same from the Bears? Sean McVay said it would be naive to not prepare for a Fields package.
Absolutely. If you had Fields, wouldn't you use him in the red zone, create some RPOs? I mean, that is the one thing on defense you cannot really prepare for, is an athlete at quarterback, especially when they know how to use him. On the snap of the football, he becomes the tailback, and the running back just became the fullback. So a lot of communication goes on when you switch quarterbacks. But look, Andy Dalton is Andy Dalton. If you get him behind the chains, he'll start to have that look of a man that's trying to hold back an avalanche. Bengals fans know what I mean by that.
Cowboys fans too.
Absolutely. So stop the run, get after Andy Dalton. There's a good chance he'll throw it to you.
Before we make our picks to click tonight, let's talk a little bit about special teams. It was a bit of the forgotten phase, unfortunately, for the Rams last season under new leadership with Joe DeCamillis. They kept Johnny Hecker on a restructured deal, Matt Gay back as the incumbent kicker. How much better can the third phase be for the Rams this season?
It has to be extremely better, right? You don't want to give up long kicks. You want to get returns. That hidden yardage counts as points. In special teams, every game that you outgain the other special teams by 10 yards is 1 point. So if the Rams are getting outgained, let's say 80 yards, that's 8 points on the field that you've left. And so Joe DeCamillis is the guy that I played for in Jacksonville. He is a tremendous special teams coach. He's going to challenge his guys week in and week out. He's going to set up matchups for guys to go out there and dominate. He's going to try to put his best players on their worst players and double team their best players and take it an advantage, make it a third of the thing. And the last thing about special teams, when I was in Jacksonville, we did it like the fourth or fifth period in practice. It was just kind of like punt team, blah, blah, blah. When Joe DeCamillis came to Jacksonville, we did special teams the first period. You know why?
Nice.
Because you start the game with special teams every game. Either kickoff or kickoff return. And so it's a mindset with him, and I think that's what's important.
I heard that before. Every coach to start training camp with punt protection. It's the most important thing you do. Look, I count Greg Zuerlein as a friend, right? So what happened to him on Thursday night counts for us. So the yips are out. He missed a bunch. Matt Gay won't today.
Teams could also be your first chance to see members of this rookie class for the Los Angeles Rams. Tutu Atwell on punt, for instance. Jacob Harris as a gunner on punt cover.
Wow.
Maybe Jake Funk returning kicks. We shall see.
I want to see Jacob Harris in the end zone. I'm sorry. Is that getting ahead of myself?
Yeah, you're okay. We'll get there.
I want to see that guy in the end zone.
How about downing a kick at the one right next to the end zone?
Fair enough. Okay.
Before we close it out, time to make our selections for players to watch for tonight's opener, Sunday Night Football against the Chicago Bears. MJD, you can lead things off.
I mean, there's so many guys to go with, but my player to watch is going to be Cooper Kupp. I expect Cooper Kupp to have a big day. He's kind of been that teddy bear for the quarter for Jared Goff. Let's see if he continues to be that teddy bear for Matthew Stafford. Robert Woods to have a huge day. But to me, are we going to have third and Kupp? That's what I want to see. Can we make that call a couple times today?
Well, look, the number 2 player in the NFL is here tonight in Aaron
really
Donald.
Is the number 1 player.
You know what I'm saying. I mean, look, he's here, so it's hard to get away from watching him. But look, the belle of the ball tonight is number 9, Matthew Stafford. This is what we're here for. This is what we've been talking about. I can't wait to see it. We're almost there.
I also almost went Cooper Kupp, but there are so many other options at his position group that I think Stafford is going to spread it around. I expect Cooper Kupp to have a career year, don't get me wrong. But Tyler Higbee, to me, is the unquestioned tight end 1 of this roster. And I don't know that, say, December of 2019 can be duplicated throughout a 17-game schedule, but that's the type of production I'm looking for from a healthy Tyler Higbee, given the threats that are on the outside. We didn't really give a true defensive pick. You want to go around the horn one more time? You kind of referenced Donald.
I'll take AD.
You want to make a defensive
listen, it's the Battle of Jacksonville today. Allen Robinson versus Jalen Ramsey. Those guys have been going at it for years, right? They did it in training camp. They did it in practice together. Now they're on opposite sides, and Jalen's gotten the best of them. I want to see if Jalen can continue to do it again.
I feel good with our guy.
And I'll go with Sebastian Joseph Day, who I thought had one of the better camps of any Ram. This is a massive year for Bash. Look forward to seeing him go in 2021. DeMarco, thank you. MJD, can't wait to get upstairs with you. That's a wrap for our first Rams pregame show of the season. Make sure you tune in for the game on TV. It's 5:20 Pacific on NBC. As always, you can listen to us on 710 ESPN and also Jack FM 93.1 here in the greater Los Angeles area. For MJD, for Marco Farr, I'm JB Long. Rams and Bears coming up. It's week 1 from SoFi Stadium, home of Super Bowl 56. I had no audio for that second half of the show, so hopefully that worked because flying without a kite.